very unusual spot, Barry Spears. Welcome in, by the way. SoCal Saturdays, hanging out with you, of course, Louie, Rabaut, Barry Spears. We did right here. I do my podcasting. This is my studio at home here. As you can tell, very cloudy out today. Not a lot of light in my studio. Decided not to go with the overhead lamp or anything today, but I'm surrounded by very expensive whiskeys from yesterday's show, and it's just a hell of a thing. The Friday, a week before Kentucky Oaks, and I'm looking at the bourbon, not enjoying it. He's Barry Spears, Louie Rabaut, hanging out with you, and we're here every Friday ahead of the Saturday card, wherever it might be in Southern California. Of course, right now is Santa Anita's season, so we'll be getting into the 10 race card that will happen there tomorrow. Race 7 is the Royal Heroine, a grade 3 event out there. Barry, good Friday to you, my friend. How are you?
Happy Friday. Hanging in there, man. Just trying to get through another one. Hopefully it'll rain in Florida soon. We're in the midst of a month and a half drought, which is crazy. Yeah.
We had a Florida-style pop-up shower yesterday. I thought of you. It was a thing.
Huh.
Yeah, just
send it our way.
It's rained in about 20 minutes. It was a hell of a thing. Yeah, so there you go. Sounds like you could use one of those. We are presented every Friday, as we have been for months, by our friends at Amwager, amwager.com. You can see the logo just above the top of my head there, amwager.com. 100% matchup bonus right now. One match bonus up to $150 for you. 100% matchup for the new subscribers on their site. Go check them out, amwager.com. All right, Barry, let's get into it, man. 10 race card here. I think some legitimate opportunities for some prices as well. We start with race 1, of course. That will be a maiden special event here, going a mile on the turf there, Barry. Where did you land in race 1 there? Santa Anita tomorrow.
Yeah, this is a kind of straightforward lid lifter here.
You and I landed on the same 3 horses, not in the same order necessarily, but the same 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Cuban Confusion, the 7, kind of stood out a little bit, especially off that last race where he cleared Broski by 4 3/4 lengths in a semi-paceless sort of race, and he closed into that. Definitely going to be hard to beat. So I have the 7 Cuban Confusion on top, and I thought Broski's kind of a little faint-hearted, so I picked up Unrivaled Hero to kind of pick up the pieces and finish second.
So 7-5-1 for Barry here. I went 1-5-7. Here's my my horse racing insider knowledge for tomorrow. Barry, are you ready?
Yes.
So Umberto Rispoli is getting on a plane to fly to Louisville to ride journalism in his last work tomorrow. So I'll be out there for that work tomorrow. Then he's getting back on a plane to ride this Santa Anita card. I agree with you. The 7 is probably the best horse in this race. I'm going to go with the price here a little bit in Broski at 6-1 because he was right there with Mythical Real and Unrivaled Hero last time out. Excuse me. But if I get 6-1, and Umberto might still be getting a little bit of his legs underneath him after a long flight back and forth to Louisville, I'm going to take that advantage there. 1-5-7 for me. I might try a really hard 1-5 exacta up top just to get us going. Off the top, Hector Barrios rides Unrivaled Hero for Mark Glatton in this spot. Go ahead.
If I thought about that, right, yes. I'd be with you normally. If Umberto Rispoli was like 6'10", 6'11", that flight is terrible, but he's 5-something and he can sleep on the plane. He has a lot of rest. It might be stronger.
Hope you're right.
I hope so too.
Hope he gives a great ride to Derby too. Yeah, I love all the people that are like, I don't know if Umberto can win a Derby, and I'm like, did you watch Rich Strike? Are we doing this right now? We doing this right now? Not hating on Leon, but are we doing this right now? We're going to go ahead and say who can and can't win the Kentucky Derby. Well, we are talking about Santa Anita Saturday. That is tomorrow. The Royal Heroine card. Race 2 is an optional claim. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt here. This is essentially for non-2 lifers and for 3 and up in this spot. A little sprint here, Barry. I thought even for a shorter field, kind of fun. We both landed on the 5 here in Smooth Cruising. This is one that we've seen in Stakes Company previously. I agree with you. I think we both have the 5 on top here. The drop in class will be a big help here.
Yeah, that's really the attractor. I mean, a lot of these horses look kind of similar. I think the class drop creates that pace edge that Smooth Cruising will probably need. I mean, you look at the 3 winners of the races he was in himself, then Barnes, then journalism, and he didn't disgrace himself in any of those. So he looks like he might have an edge here. I'm fairly certain 9-2 is probably impossible, but if we so happen to get it, so be it.
Yeah, the other part is positivity coming in, huge speed figure, 9 to 5 on the morning line, is gonna catch a bunch of money. So I'll push back a little bit, Barry. I disagree a little. I think we're actually gonna get a very good price on him just because
Mm.
speed figures aren't there and he is coming out of races where he doesn't have the win-loss record that these other horses do. I think a lot of people are gonna be looking 1, 2, 3 in this spot. I think the 5 could get us some real value here. Outside of the 5, though, who do you think can help clean up the pieces? You got Shady Tiger in the second spot.
Yeah, the two run pretty decent most of the time, even on the turf. I mean, this horse can kind of do it all. It's just getting going March 1st. I think second time out, this horse is going to run a lot better and might get a better trip and pace setup.
Yeah, there you go. So short field of 5 there. Um, are you more likely in your tickets to try to grab all the horses in this kind of field or go real skinny in a kind of this kind of field?
Um, I would say probably I
This is a
hate
tough one.
going all.
Yeah.
Um, I'd probably leave the four off and take
Okay.
everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. Self sufficient is the 4 here. We're at seventh last out in an optional claimer. Try to improve on that effort. Amwager.com again. 100% match right now on your first deposit with them up to $150. Go ahead and get in with them live in California as we speak. Santa Anita race 3 on Saturday. We're looking at another sprint here, and we're looking at another claimer, $20,000 non-3 lifers here in this spot. I thought a fun race here, Barry. A chance probably to take a couple stabs. I'll go first here in this one. Landed on the 8. I do have the 1 in the second spot as a longer shot here. So Andy Mathis trains here. This horse we last saw at this level at Del Mar over 5.5 furlongs. The reason I'm really attracted to this one, he's 5 for his last 13 with horses coming out of this kind of layoff. And I love that kind of angle in this spot. He and Gonzalez now 1 for their last 6, but 2 for their last 10 altogether. I think this one showed the distance and the want last time. Andy Mathis has this one working really well at Santa Anita as well. Love that 9-2 price. I think we're going to get every bit of it in this race. Stanford Malibu, the one horse, is my second pick here. And if you go 3 back in his race, which was at this level, at the 12, at the 16 level, frankly, for non-twos, under Hector Barrios, gets it done. Really, really quick splits. And I think he can repeat that this coming Saturday. The works have been pretty good, mostly over the 4 furlong kind of distance there at Santa Anita. But I think at 12-1, Barry, that horse, a definite must include in an exact play.
Yeah, he's going to be formidable in a race like this, especially at that price. I think you should get most of that price
Great.
because others are going to get bet. This is a really, really tough race. These lower level ones where horses are in and out of form constantly,
Correct.
sometimes it's hard to predict who's going to step up and run well. I went to the 10 Havoc. This horse needs some class relief, and I think this is what the doctor ordered. However, the caveat with this horse is ran on April 20th.
Mm,
I'm not sure if they're going to wheel back this quickly. If they do, that will make me even more confident if this horse doesn't scratch.
I'm with you.
But the last race, I mean, really, this horse doesn't seem to be a turf horse,
Right.
but seems to have grown up since 2023 when this horse was, kind of running regularly. The speed figures have improved. I think just getting back to the preferred surface
Yeah.
and this level will make all the difference and make this horse tough.
Yeah, nothing about the notes, by the way, from that last race. And you and I watched that race, of course, last
Hmm.
weekend, having it been on Sunday. Nothing about it says that the horse got tired or anything like that. It just wasn't a match for optional claiming level field. This is a straight up claimer level field, right? And so this might be a nice spot for Havoc to drop into. By the way, Barry and I both we have a sheet that we put together to, side by side, just so I know where I want to go with cues and different things about handicapping. You and I do not have any of the same 3 horses in our top 3 for this race.
Oof.
It's that kind of wide open. At least it feels like it to both of us.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go in this race in particular because there's situations where the one could
Mhm.
get loose on the lead or crazy stuff happens in races like this where horses don't break. With these lower level claimers, it kind of anything goes.
You got the 4 second here in Harson. That's a horse I looked at quite a bit too, Barry, but left out of my selections. What do you like about Harson for this spot?
You could put the line through that last race, just really didn't do anything.
I agree.
I'm not really sure how or why that performance actually shows up. I mean, it's very atypical. I mean, my guess is that that field was way loaded more than what it looks like And I do know the horse Trusty Rusty, and that is a
Mhm.
decent horse and probably
Yep.
would be really strong in this spot. I think just that muddied up form in the last race is going to keep the price high on this horse, but Harson has a good shot to at least make some noise in this race. I don't know about on the win end, but at 10-1 to show up in the picture is a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Race 4 on Saturday. We're going all the way around the track, mile and a 16th on the dirt course here. This is an allowance optional claimer for 100K if you want to throw your horse in for the tag. $63,000 purse here. This is for 3-year-olds and up, which have never won. Blah 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 blah. Not reading your condition book, Santa Anita Park. That's not my job. But race 4 here, Barry. An interesting one as well. You and I landing on the same 3 horses here.
Yeah, it's kind of a 1, 2, 3. Whichever you feel of those 3 horses is the best. Um, I took the 1 for All Mankind. I think that horse is going to get the trip.
Okay.
Miramati seems a little bit faint-hearted when that horse gets kind of headed or looks another horse in the eye. And Eagle's Flight is no joke. So I'm not thinking they're going to duel, but they're going to keep each other occupied enough for All Mankind to kind of pass them late.
Last 2 times Miramati's had Lasix, he's won. Last 2 times he hasn't had it, he hasn't won. Gets Lasix back this time. Seems to be in every other type at this point. Maiden win. They put him in the native diver, nowhere to be found. They put him against winners. He wins. They put him against grade 1 Santa Anita handicap level. He's not ready. I think this is his level. I think Miramati can run away with this one. Uh, Tough pick, early pick 5, by the way. Tough early pick 5. Kudos, by the way. Good card this way. Might be my single here early. Would be Miramati. In the
Yeah, I
early.
mean, this would probably be the place to do it.
Yeah.
To take a
Because Eagles
stand in
Flight's
this
going to be in
race.
here. Yeah, Eagles Flight's going to be in here. He's got that gaudy speed figure last time out. Obviously, Umberto in to ride him again. But this is a quicker turnaround than he's ever had in his career, right? So if you were going to play against him in a spot, I'm not saying he can't win. Of course he can. His works have been outrageously good too. It's not that at all. It's if you wanted to hit a spot where you're going to get some payout and still get a Baffert on the dirt in Santa Anita,
Yeah,
this might be actually.
well, it's funny because all 3 of these horses, the 1, 2, and 3, have question marks here. I
Sure.
mean, Eagles Flight is getting the class test. Miramati is getting the competition test, and For All Mankind is is challenged on winning. Just doesn't like to win very much.
Well, and
Um,
distance. I mean, he goes 2 turns almost never too.
Yeah, I mean, 2 turns probably might suit him a little bit
I
better,
think
I think,
I
but
think you're
you never know. I mean, there's definitely question marks there, and it's just unfortunate that we're gonna have to take a short price on any one of these horses.
Yeah. No, it's a tough field that way with only 5 going. Arrow the Great, by the way, the 5 horse in here did win last out at Turf Paradise over the mile. But that was a very, very slow setup to that race, and no chance that they're going to get that kind of thing at Santa Anita on Saturday. Race 5 does close the early pick 5, and it will start the middle pick 4 if you are so interested. It is coming down the hill, 6.5 furlongs there at Santa Anita Park. It's an allowance optional claiming race here, $63,000 purse for 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races essentially at this level as well. Barry, I'll let you go first here. You and I loving the downhill turf course. How are you closing out the early pick 5?
Yeah, I ended up on the 7, Sharp as Attack, and if you notice in that horse's past performances, March 5th, 2023, this horse ran down the hill in a stake race and got beat by Johannes, Wizard of Westwood, and Helatic. 3 horses that would easily be favored in this spot, um, and didn't really run all that badly that day. Hasn't been at this trip since, and also has been off since March of last year,
Yeah, right.
which doesn't really concern me as much as not being down the hill. But I think this horse ran good enough the last time we saw this horse. And then coming off the layoff, there's a lot of steady works there. Peter Miller has been known to have
Yes.
horses ready off the layoff like
No question.
this, who
Yep.
has a lot of talent. This horse is very, very good in a race that seems quite wide open, more like a rider's kind of race. But
Mm.
I think Gio Franco can get the right trip here, and showing that class and kind of hang with Johannes even down 6.5 still says a little something.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the horse that had the lead in the San Simeon last out. That's the 3 Mucho de Oro, who actually qualifies for the tag here, has to run for it at $80,000. Taking the blinkers off this one. I don't have a big opinion on this one, taking the blinkers off. I don't know if they thought that this one got a little distracted at the end or not distracted enough. I don't know, frankly, but faded at the got outside, was a step slow coming out of the gate last time. But if you look at previous times down the hill, including a win in the Grade 3 Daytona, I think that this horse will get out of the gate a little bit better here and have a considerably better shot. This is also the second race back in California after a trip to Florida, so maybe just a little bit more time in the barn at home there. I know it's 5-2. I know it's kind of a lazy pick here, but I do think Antonio Frasu can get this one home. Barry.
Um, I want to give the 2-horse Gojo one a shot here.
Nice.
This horse was running okay and ran in the Twilight Derby in 2022. And if you look at this horse's races, from 2023 and earlier, was keeping really good company with horses like Defunded getting beat by Moose Mitchell, Anarchist, Cabo Spirits in there, Troubadour. Those horses are pretty tough. And this horse is just coming back off a little less than a 2-year layoff. Ran pretty good off the bench at 6 furlongs on the flat. I think the hill will actually do this horse a lot better. And this horse won't need the lead in order to kind of get a little bit of a kick. So if Mucho de Oro doesn't, or kind of been running like he has been, I think Gojo 1 might be the first one on the scene to take over the lead and could hang around. 30-1 seems awfully high, but given the recent form and nobody's seen this horse in a minute, I think you might get somewhere around there. And there's a bullet on April 19th at San Luis Rey. I
Yes,
mean,
there
it's
is.
not, it has to mean something for a horse coming off a 2-year layoff.
Second in the Forbes cycle, bullet the other day. I'm with you, man. If he's going to run well, it's going to be this weekend for sure. So 30-1 does stand out as a longer and good number there. I'm longer shot with you. Guess who I had second in my candy cabin?
That horse.
I had the 6 actually. So I had the 6. We were in trouble with you 3-1. Not a longer shot here. Juan Hernandez gets them out here. The horse went 6 furlongs last time. Looked really good. He's going to try to close here. I don't love that on the downhill course, but it does seem like once in a while, Barry, when we cross the dirt course for the final run on the turf, we do get a closer from time to time. So maybe it will be we're in trouble. But I have the 4 in the third spot here. Did I go that boring? I guess I did. Trusting Uberto here. How about that? This will be the horse's second race this year. The other one came in February, was down the hill, ran really well. I think we'll get a better trip here under Umberto and should be part of the equation at the end. Race 6 is up next here. Again, Amwager and amwager.com. We encourage you to go check them out and get that deposit match right now up to $150 with our friends at Amwager. Maiden 20 is a mile race here on the dirt. Maidens, fillies and mares, 3, 4, and 5 years old for this one. Again, 20,000 is the claiming price. 126 pounds for older horses and 118 for 3-year-olds. Barry, aggro is going to be 8-5 on the inside. That is where we both landed. Single of the day, maybe with aggro.
It's starting to look like it. We're halfway
Tough
through
to
the
look somewhere else.
card. Yeah, we're halfway through the card, and we haven't seen anybody that stands out this much. And aggro looks like the goods. Just looks way better than these horses. I don't whether this horse is on the lead, coming from behind. I think just stands out here. Other
I
horses.
think that, by the way, I think the inside post draw is a good one for this too.
Well,
Because
yeah, I mean
this is gonna try
that's
to
the
stop
perfect
time.
draw.
Right.
Hmm.
Because if someone wants to go get the lead, this horse is going to say, cool. All right, I'll be right there. I think that's what aggro is going to try to do.
Yeah, and in races like this in particular, I gravitate to horses that haven't run very much, because as the wins keep piling up, they're getting that label of horses that can't win at this level or even lower, or just not at all. So
Right.
gravitating to horses that are lightlier raced seems to be the move, because they haven't really proven themselves to be quote unquote losers yet. I think the 5, or I'm sorry, the 4, Zarek. Oh, I don't even know how to say that. Mrazek. Is that how you say
Mrazek,
that?
that's a hockey player.
Yeah.
Come on, Barry. You play college basketball. You should know your hockey players.
Yeah, me and Dan Issel know our hockey. Mrazek's old dream. The drop in class really helped this horse last time, and I think the further drop is gonna be even more effective. Didn't finish too far behind aggro, but still should be
Right.
behind this horse again.
You and I both have the 4 in our top 3 as well. I think the 2 here is interesting. Coming into this one, Siempre Naman in this spot, third time starter, ran in a 12.5 last time at Santa Anita by 5.5 lengths. I don't actually mind the step up here for Jeff Bondy. The horse has been working well enough. Excuse me. We're going from sprinter route here as well, and he's good on the stretch out, about 21%. And so I think a little more distance for this the son of Minister's Wildcat. How about that? A little Calbred for your
Wow.
face. Yeah, I think a little stretch out here would be good for the number 2.
Yeah.
Moving on to, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is kind of a fun race because behind aggro,
Right.
anything is possible.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different scenarios that can play off there. Taking the blinkers off of Petit Ange, that's one, Barry, when you talk about just having run a billion times and you eventually just have to get that horse out of your mind. 14th attempt at breaking the maiden for
Yeah,
that one
five.
in race
You
6.
get 5-2 on that horse. It's got to be some barn money or something because I just can't see that horse going off at 5-2 in this race.
Uh, yeah. It's hard to understand some of them, but I've seen much weirder lines than that for sure. So, Santa Anita Saturday race 10 is what I'm making that banner for. That's for later in the show. For right now, though, we're talking about race 6. And now race 7, which is the feature on the day, the grade 3 Royal Heroine stakes here. A mile on the turf. This is for fillies and mares. 4 and up, Barry, grade 3 on the card here. Massive field for this one. I'm excited that they're having everybody running this one. I don't see an AE list. I just see a bunch of runners. Where did you land in the Royal Heroine? You and I both have the 10 in our handicapping, but we both also like the 4. What do you like about the 4 here?
Yeah, the 4, it's been running very tough, and just hadn't caught a break. But I tend to think that this horse likes to finish second. The record kind of shows that too. 23 starts, 6 seconds, and
Yep.
4 wins. Anytime you have more seconds and thirds than wins, it's kind of a red flag. But this horse did win this race
Yes.
last year
Yep.
off the layoff, which is a little bit interesting because this horse has had 2 races in March in preparation for this event. I don't know how that translates. But this race also sets up a lot differently than that race last year did. And I think Uncorked may be up against it a little bit. So that's why I didn't put that horse on top.
Uncorked, ridden by Mike Smith for Phil D'Amato this weekend. I have that horse in my top 4 or top 3 in this race, excuse me, as well. But race 7, I did land on the 2 as well, alongside you. Raw ability here, 5-2, comes out of an optional claiming win. Are we basing it basically on being 3 for 3 lifetime, seeming to like the turf, wins overseas, comes to the US, immediately wins, just following the win stream here? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, been pretty dominant in most of the races, including that last one off the bench from September to March. It seems like the sky's the limit for this horse. The maiden was against a field of 14,
Mm.
then wins at Del Mar, probably the strongest meet in America, and then comes back off a really long layoff to win. This horse deserves this shot. Probably is the best horse in this race. Just has to go out there and show it.
Yeah, it's a step into the grade 3 thing. But frankly, what's interesting is because of the nature of stakes races in California, there aren't a lot of listed and black type options for horses. And so stepping into grade 3 company is essentially the introduction to stakes races out west. Completely agree with you about raw ability. I think the 5 horse here is an interesting, more long shot here for Venganza. Kazushi Kimura picks up for Richard Mandela again. This one was in the Monrovia down the hill last time. And Barry, you and I talk a lot about, can a horse go from that 6.5 downhill, get some speed on the front, and just keep the lead? I think this is one that if you look at the race at Del Mar at a mile and a 16th, the last time this horse wasn't sprinting, it was able to sit just off the lead and did end up 5th, but only by a length and 3/4. And so I wonder if we can get back to that form, especially at 15-1. I'll take a shot at Venganza running late to fill out at least an exactor trifecta play.
Yeah, you would think a horse like that could go long.
Yes. It feels
You
like
know,
it's at least, yeah, that's one that sets up. Yes.
curling out a war front mare. That sound Avenge was a nice horse in her own right.
Tirapati is the 6 here. I mean, obviously part of the real top class of this race. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and should hang around. I mean, this horse is tough as nails, even when she gets hooked, but should have a decent trip on the lead. But I just think raw ability is just a flat out better horse.
There you go. Tirapati will be ridden by Umberto Rispoli, who has won 4 of his first 10 at Santa Anita this meet. We'll look to extend that today and tomorrow, riding out there as well. Anyone else catch your eye on this? We do have a full field of 13 in here, plenty of horses to talk about on that. And I do think, for example, oh gosh, where did it go?
I was gonna say the 9 with Raylu.
Yeah, Eternal
Um,
Rain. Yes, with Gutierrez. Yeah,
deserves
great.
a shot at this too, just as much as raw ability. Just hasn't shown the kind of turn of foot as the 2 has, but I don't think this one is that far behind. And nice work out there on April 20th, coming in the race the right way, and I wouldn't be surprised if this horse steps up and runs a good one.
No worse than second since moving to the United States, including a maiden win at Santa Anita, has run on that firm turf course all 3 races since moving to North America. I think a really, really interesting rendition of the Royal Heroine here, the grade 3 odd Saturday, excuse me, at Santa Anita Park. We move on to race 8, starts late pick 4 there at Santa Anita, 6 furlongs on the dirt here. It is an optional claimer for $10,000, starter allowance for $8,000 with a purse of $20,000. This fillies and mares 3 and up in this one. Barry, these are the kinds of races that you and I have come to love out west, and seem to frankly have gotten pretty decent at picking in as well. I landed on the 8 Just Is. This is the reason I love these races, Barry, is because this isn't a long shot technically, but 6-1 is a delicious price. This one's in for the tag, ran really well last out. We're second off the layoff here, and we do have a bullet at Santa Anita as the last work. So 6-1, I'll take that all day. Muted. You are muted. Barry is muted.
Dang
Don't
it!
be muted. All right, go ahead.
It's been a couple of weeks since I did that. But yeah, no, that horse, it has speed, and that's always dangerous in races like this with these
Yep.
low level claimers. I mean, they get out there and start winging it, and they get brave and run off. And I can see
The board 5
scenarios
of
where
his
that
last 7
happens.
races. Yeah, he's a
Right.
gamer, dude. And he hits the board all the time. Yeah, give me that kind of horse in this level.
Yeah, why not? I mean, this is a wide open event. I went with the 4 Twilight Empire, and only for the reason that this horse has some recent sort of activity at a higher level. That open $20,000 claimer that the horse just missed by a nose back in Pleasanton on October 24th would probably win this race.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree.
all those races actually before that in 2023 would, but this is obviously a different horse since then. Um, and I can forgive the last race. This horse was, 3-4 wide the whole way and kind of petered out at the end. Gets a better post position this time and will probably get a way better trip. And 8-1 is hard to resist with a horse like that had a little trouble last time.
Librato Barosio, too, trainer, hits at 21% with horses in his barn for the first time. So obviously places them very well. Off the claim, is in for the tag for this one, is Twilight Empire, the 4. You and I both have that horse in our top 3. We also have the 10 in our top 3. Both of us, Barry. That is the 2-1 Champagne Cami. No one excited or surprised that this horse is in here. Jumps back off the turf, where her last showing was a 6 furlong race on the dirt, which she won by 12 plus lengths under Armando Ayuso. Obvious shot here, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that this horse was at that level, cuts the price in half, and
Fair enough.
it's just a little strange. I don't really trust it. That's why I didn't put the horse on top, but has every right to win this race as anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. In that spot as well. You and I both had the 10 and the 4 in our handicapping. I landed on the 8 on top there. We move to race 9. This will be one where you and I both have a log shot as well. We're going a mile on the turf course there at Santa Anita. Starts the late $3 pick 3 base minimum bet there. And we love this 50% takeout. Payouts have been spectacular on this bet. Barry, where did you land in race 9 here?
Yeah, race 9, it looked straightforward. I went up and down this race a few times trying to poke holes in Jimmy Blue Jeans and Brazenly, and I couldn't do it. And I actually ended up with Brazenly on top of Jimmy Blue Jeans just because of the running style. I think this horse could pick up pieces, and there's enough speed in here for Jimmy Blue Jeans to not hang around. and it looks like those two and those two only, honestly.
I I have Rodrigo Nose, the 9 on the outside on top here. And the only thing I don't love is the post position. But this horse, in most of its races, has been able to sit just off. So if this horse breaks even kind of well, I think we'll be able to make enough of a move to be in the 4-5 path by the time we get to the top of the turn there at San Anita Park. Ran in a mile race 2 back, was back 3 2/3 lengths, tried a mile and an eighth last time, and ran out of gas at the very end. I'm hoping we get the form of the last race, but with the length of this race. And so is ready to go at a mile here. I'm trusting that Umberto Rispoli, who will be in the irons, will give us a good chance here. But I think 12-1 on a horse that has hit the board twice already this year and in the last 2 races at Santa Anita Park. I got incredible value, Barry, and I think that's where I'm going to lean.
I'll say this about Rodrigo Nose. I kind of like this horse a little bit, um, but this horse hasn't run as fast as the 5 or the 7. But the equalizer is the trip that horse is going to get. There's a possibility that Rodrigo Nose gets the perfect trip and completes this. That's why I use this horse for third. Has can step up. It has to step up to win, but can definitely do it given the pace scenario and the trip that this horse will probably get.
I've got the 2 Kanani in my top 3 as well. Comes out of a maiden special win over this course at Santa Anita Park. I thought those splits were fast. He's going to have to be a little bit faster here to win in this company, Barry. But I think at 10-1 with Kyle Frey, if we can get that horse at least part of the exacta trifecta kind of equation, I think we're looking at a big payout. And I do think this horse, given the last couple of races, I know in maiden company, but at Santa Anita with the times that we're seeing from the clocker there, I think is worth looking at as well. Did you have a longer shot in this race that you liked?
Not really. Like I said, I think Brazenly and Jimmy Blue Jeans are going to dominate this race at the top, and you know, I like this try actually, the 579 cold.
Okay.
A lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Let's move into race 10 then. This is a claimer as well. $16,000 race here, $22,000 purse. This is for 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. Very simple here. 1 trip around the dirt course here, Barry. In a race 10, another opportunity, I think, at prices, except that you and I landed on the same 2 horses, 8 and 6 or 6 and 8 in your case. I'll go first here. The 8 is Can You Hear Me Knocking? Armando Ayuso gets them out here. First race since February for this one when the horse won last time out. Going a mile was in at the maiden 32 tag is in for 16 here. I think the level here makes a lot of sense. And this amount of time out for trainer Dan Blacker, he's been hitting at 36% coming off this kind of layoff. Barry, why do you like the 6 in this spot?
Again, this is one of those races where you have these lightly raced horses and they're in this condition type race. The more those races pile up without wins, the more suspect they look in this event. And the 6 and the 8 were kind of the ones that haven't run all too much, that look like they're kind of coming into their own to break through this condition. I like both of their last races. I thought the 6 probably had a little bit more upside just because he's only run 3 times instead of 7. But that's really the only difference. And it's kind of
Right.
splitting hairs because the 8 really wants to be a miler on the dirt, as you could see from that last race. So
No question. Yep.
I don't think that horse is going to get such a perfect trip like he got last time, but is formidable in this spot.
You have the 10 in the 3rd spot. I have the 4 Battle Cruiser. I am very chalky in this race on 4. Well, I shouldn't say that. The 6 is 6-1. But the 4 is 9-2 here. Did run at the mile level the mile distance at this level at 16,000 last out. The Gutierrez Sadler combination has not been firing lately. I'm just hoping that this horse is there to pick up the pieces. Barry, I'll be very much just leaning on 8 and 6 in this race in longer tickets.
Yeah, mostly. The 10 is interesting to me because this horse is, had some ability before that layoff.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what you're going to get, but again, these aren't the most competitive horses on the grounds.
Sure.
And this horse could easily just kind of moonwalk and still win these if he can run back to those races back in 2024, but that's a huge question mark. So I kind of use that horse for third to pick up some pieces late.
Ran for Brittany Vandenberg at Turfway Park over the winter. Neither of those performances were especially good. So hopefully a switch back to dirt will be what the doctor ordered for Asmodeus. Race 11 will close the card. Want to remind you about our friends at Amwager and amwager.com. It's this logo right here, amwager.com. Get in right now, 100% match up to a 151st deposit with them. If you are a new customer live in California, go check them out at amwager.com. Maiden 60. We're on the flat turf course here, Barry 6 furlongs on the grass for maidens, fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5 in this spot. I know you. Tell me the first time starter that you like the most in this race.
Well, I'm kind of torn because usually on the grass, I don't like first time starters. Typically, they need a race to get a little acclimated. The pace is a little bit different than running on the dirt, things of that sort. So I usually like to give them a race, but the 2 religiously looks okay here. For a barn that does well with first time starters, this horse is a foal to a horse named Organic who won first time on the turf sprinting.
Like,
and that could go a long way in these maiden races where you know that the pedigree has this sort of precocity on the turf going short. Why not 15-1? I don't think we're going to get that because the barn does well with first time starters, but should be healthy 8-1.
there you go. I think if the 14 somehow draws in here, Barry, it's an absolute must include. Second time starter here is a 20% angle for trainer Mark Glatt, who also wins maiden specials at 15, sprints in general at 22%. I think this horse is very much set up. He and Kazushi Kimura hitting at 26% in their recent races at Santa Anita Park as well. So yeah, I would lean on the 14 if it happens to draw in here. Never know with the maiden field.
Who's he going to ride if that horse draws in? Kimura's got the 2.
He's supposed to be on the 2 as well, right? Yeah. So what's interesting is I think the 2 is a fascinating one too. I know you have that as listed on your long shot there, but I think the 5 is interesting as well in Godavari. 6-1 here for Dan Blacker again, off another one of those layoffs. He and Antonio Fresu hooking up on this one. Love a second time starter. The horse was more than capable in the first time out. 6-1's a great price on this horse. So I guess of the eligible horses, I'll lean on the 5 here.
Okay.
And you went over the 2 already, yes, with Religiously with Carla Gaines, who's very good
Yes.
with first timer. She is. And so that's hard to argue with you, my friend. I do think the 9's an interesting one to look at as well. Naturally Blonde. I used to be blonde, if anybody believes me. That was a time in my life before now where there was hair and there were things. Not like Barry, but there was hair. But for Jeff Mullins here, this one clearly needed the time off after a very lackluster showing on the dirt. Before that, though, had been running well on the turf. I think the move back to turf where the horse has finished second twice is the move back here. I love the 10-1 price here, Barry. How do you feel about that one? And this one does have a bullet work on the Tapeta out there.
Yeah, this horse is interesting. It's just so tough when you have these maiden races, especially at the last race of the day, because anything is liable to happen. I could give that one a shot as well as a few others. I kind of like the 11 a little bit. Miss Razik. I got it right that time, right?
Yeah.
All right. That full to a horse named Please Focus, who's a turf sprinter / miler.
Yep.
And that first race back in September wasn't all that bad. Steak Fries is a decent horse.
Yep.
Off that layoff, this horse might be okay.
There you go. Lots going on around horse racing right now. Of course, Derby week next week. You can catch me ESPN Radio here in Louisville, ESPNLouisville.com. You can stream all of our shows. Barry happened to jump on with me this morning, so you can join such experts as Barry Spears on our shows next week. Kelly Francois will be in to hang out with me for the week from the Maryland Jockey Club. Did you see they hired Mike Beer to replace her for the week? I mean, what a good move by the Maryland Jockey Club. Just shove Callie out of the way, get Mike Beer in there, looking semi-homeless. That's our guy, Mike Beer.
You should ask Mike Beer and Dan Illman about the time I was hanging out with them in the backyard at Saratoga a couple years ago.
Yeah, buddy.
Good times.
Yeah. Beer in the Del Mar paddock with sunglasses on and just a shirt he bought at Kohl's in 1997. I mean, just the best. I mean, just the absolute best that we could ever hope for in horse racing. But he's Barry Spears, the urban handicapper. He's the sniper, all of the good things. Joins us every Friday here on SoCal Saturdays ahead of our best attempt at getting those horses picked out for Saturday. Of course, check out our friends at Amwager and Amwager.com for that 100% deposit match right now for all new customers up to $150 there. Barry, we appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Good luck with all your wagers tomorrow. Of course, you can find my specific wager for this card at thesportingtribune.com. You can download the app right now. Yes, they have a horse racing app. Go check them out, thesportingtribune.com. Thanks to our friends at Amwager. This has been another edition of the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Happy Derby Week, everybody.